Fantastic. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest Flood Coffee Morning. Today, we're joined by actor, writer, and producer Sam James, who is a Stockport-based creative, would you say, or Manchester-based?
Depends on who I'm talking to. It tends to be
Yeah.
that if I'm in Manchester, I'm Stockport based, but
Hmm.
anywhere else, I'm Manchester based. Yeah, I was about to say anywhere else in the world, I'd say that I was UK based or Northwest based, but I wouldn't. I think that Manchester's quite significant, quite important to me.
And what do you say if you're in Stockport?
If I'm in Stockport, I give me postcode.
Fair enough. Just a direct, fair enough. So you are currently working with Cloudburst Productions, Northern Parasol, and Peveril Productions, which you co-founded with Teddy Jones, on a multimedia immersive theatre show called Gary Sullivan: The Experience, which I believe is a follow-up to Gary Sullivan's Bohemian Utopia, the web series, album, and string of music videos, which are currently available on YouTube.
They are currently available on YouTube. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd love to monetize
Fantastic.
them.
And you also work in various production and editorial roles. I'm reading it off a screen here. Making TV and commercial content with Channel 4, BBC, and the British Council.
Mm.
Mm. Is that's true as well?
Well, yeah, it's true. It's true. Is it
Ye-
true? Of course, it's true.
No, I just want to, make sure that any
Yeah.
information. Cool.
Yeah.
Um, so I have a series of questions I'm going to ask you now, and we're just going to rattle through them, and you can answer, and then we might kind of deviate off script and stuff. But this is
I'm
generally
sure
just
we
to ask
will.
about. I'm sure we will, but this is generally just to kind of learn about your career and kind of how you've got to this point, and kind of help emerging artists or people who are just starting out try and figure out how they can get to kind of where you're at currently.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, lovely. Well,
Fantastic.
I don't know what I. Yeah.
Fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to say about yourself as a creative before we get going that might have been missed? I know we were very specific about Gary. Um,
Well, I think that they're the headlines. They're the things that I'm thinking about a lot at the moment. So I think that's quite a good place to leave it. I think the answer to which I sort of half started and garbled, which I suppose we could have snipped out if I hadn't brought it back up now, was just basically saying, it's really nice to be asked to do this. I don't know what advice I can give, but I think probably the biggest thing that I really like about where I'm at now in my career, I don't think I'm like, you know, like particularly making leaps and strides. I think it's really important to be honest about that. But I think what I really like is that I've got a really nice network of people who I can always go to and always enjoy talking to and see how they are. So it's that sort of share of uh, information and share of sort of, everyone sort of working in the same field, which is really nice.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Because sometimes when you're starting off in the arts, it can seem like you've got to get to a single kind of high platform for yourself, and it's actually generally about the relationships that you build and make that continue to be useful.
And it's about getting used to what a career looks like because it's sort of a day or two a week for me at the moment, so it's not a full-time thing, but I've sort of built up other sides of my career, so the commercial and the TV, more production and editorial based stuff sort of fills up the rest of my time really nicely, so I still always feel like I'm working towards something, and always building up contacts as well, which I think
Mm,
is probably the biggest thing. But yeah, I think that's an answer.
yeah,
Well, it's not really an
that's
answer. It's
no,
more
I
of
think
a
that's good because
deviation of what.
I mean, even, your job that you describe as not being your full-time artistic job is still working in the arts.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
remember
definitely.
because I know you've been a builder in the past and
Mm.
potentially still are around about, which is definitely a separate job.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I think when I was doing that felt quite far away, and that never really contributed to the rest of the more artistic side of the career. But yeah, like you say, the other side of the work that I do is very much yeah, you always feel like you're working towards something, which is really nice, and it's that sort of um that thing that I said before, it's about understanding what a career looks like, and it's sort of the package of everything you do and being really
Mm.
happy that all of that sort of feeds into each other, and running your own race as well, I think is
Yeah.
quite important. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. So let's segue into the first question. This is a new one for this Zoom. What hot drink do you happen to be partaking in, seeing as this is a coffee morning?
Oh, so I've got up this morning and
Well done.
yeah, thank you.
You,
I've absolutely I've blasted through a load of work, load of emails, loads of sort of stuff for just various production stuff, and I made a cup of tea in my big mug, and I've
mm,
only drank half of it. Um, so when I was about to come on this call, I saw that I still had half left. Couldn't bring myself to throw it away, so I've just topped it up with more hot water. So I've got a very
oh,
uh
very good. Oh, Lottie
watery
does that.
based cup of tea, which
I
is
can
it's
never,
very
I can never bring myself to do the topping up thing. It feels like it would dilute the hot drink.
it has. Yeah,
It,
it's very watery. It is very,
it,
very watery. It's
it
nice
kind
though.
of it kind of places the heat above the flavor in a hot drink. You're
As the famous
prioritizing the
saying goes.
warmth. Yeah. Well, I mean, there you go. I have to say that's a very artisanal large mug. It goes very much against the Sports Direct
Yeah,
large
it's
mug
it's
that
all right. I
most.
think I got it from Sainsbury's. I could tell you exactly where I got it from. I got it from Sainsbury's in Huddersfield a couple of years ago when I was staying in Premier Inn for work, and
Yeah.
I went to Sainsbury's to fill up my car. And then wanted to pick up a few bits, a few snackettes, and I saw this mug, and I thought, yeah, I'd like a big mug because you only get little tiny mugs in Premier Inns. So
Yeah.
cheers
I
to that.
appreciate that. I appreciate the practicality and the specificity.
Mm.
Um, I've got a similarly artistic mug,
Oh,
and
it is
it's
very
got a
similar.
It
Where's that
is,
from?
isn't it? This is, I've no idea where it's from, but it was got to me by a friend for our recent housewarming
Oh,
when
nice.
we moved, which was lovely.
Got to be Sainsbury's.
Um,
I'd say it's Sainsbury's. That
I
it
think
was
it
very
feels
hard.
more artisanal. It feels a little
Oh,
more rustic than I would say. What it does,
rustic.
wait, and I'm drinking a coffee.
Nice. Very good.
Mm,
Mm.
thank you. Um, what was your first paid role in the arts?
Now you're asking. I don't. Well, oh, I think my first paid role was. Oh, just trying to get it right. I directed a commercial for a mental health charity run by ex Chelsea footballer Tony Adams. I think Chelsea Spurs.
Interesting. How did you get that?
So yeah, again, it sort of goes back to the sort of thing. So I was co-producing a short film, or developing co-development producing a short film
Mm,
a couple of years ago, and my co-producer on that, Finn, started a commercial company, and he asked me to do that. So yeah, so it went from an unpaid thing, and yeah, it got me some paid work, and I'd say that that was probably my first proper paid role. Yeah.
that's very cool. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it kind of comes out of nowhere. You're
Mm.
working away at things kind of on your own personal projects, and then the first time you actually get paid for something is always a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, definitely. And it was also a bit of a surprise with that as well, because I went into the industry like quite high up, and that's sort of something that doesn't really um continue. So what was really weird is on my CV since, or immediately post doing that, to get more work, I lied on my CV, but I lied my CV down. So I said I was, what did I say? Did I say I was a runner or production assistant, or something like that? Because those were the sort of roles which were most open to me, or
Mm,
the next step up from those roles. I sort of needed that base experience, which I didn't have. So I directed a commercial, but to get more work in that field, yeah, I had to sort of lie down, because nobody would say, or people would read the CV and go, well, why is a director applying for
yeah,
these entry level roles? But yeah, it was a bit, yeah, I think I probably messed up a couple of
interesting.
applications before I realised that. Which, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So when about was that? How many years into your kind of
It was.
post everything career would you say
Sorry,
that?
say that again.
Well, how many when just
When
when
was
was
it?
that? Yeah.
When was it? December
When
2020, 5th of December 2022. I remember the date because it was in London. That's the day that we
mm,
shot it. But I think there was a couple of days prep before that. But yeah, it was round about early December 2022. And I've been working on the short film from on and off from about April to November through a development period, which was really
mm,
nice. It was really interesting, and I think that that's this is probably jumping ahead a bit, but I have always really liked being able to do a bit of everything, and in the order that I think you read out there, it was actor, writer, producer, but I'd probably put it the other way around because I sort of do the acting last just because I like making things happen and I like seeing things come through. I enjoy it, but I enjoy doing the whole package. I think the producing side of it, or being more on the production side, is the stuff that I enjoy the most because it goes on for longer and you have a bit more control over what you're actually doing. And the same with the writing stuff. I sort of see I like doing all three, but all three are sort of a means to an end of really enjoying the whole process. And I think probably the parts of the process that I enjoy the most are, well, I love the devising stage and I love the edit. I mean, I know that we've done
yeah.
edit before, and I love that because that's where you problem solve and it's where stuff comes together and it's where you start to see what doesn't work and what works. And, you just end up with loads of stuff on the cutting room floor, but hopefully what you end up with is really lean. And the bit that
Yeah.
I like the most is the point that I suppose we've just passed with the Gary Sullivan project, the live show which we're working on, which is the I want to say crewing up, but building the team around you, and that's the bit that I probably enjoy the most. And I suppose it goes back to like the book of contacts
Mm.
before,
Well, I'd
having.
say it kind of your first paid role comes down to. I mean, you say you jumped in very high up, but I'd say it sounds like you'd been working away at it for quite some time, and it's due to the contacts you'd made and being in kind of the art thing of being in the right place at the right time. But it's not necessarily that because you've been working hard and kind of building contacts and building experience, and then happened to the opportunity came along.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that's really fair. And what was nice about that is I felt like so just like the side of it that I'm on at the moment, where I'm asking people to do things for a project that I'm spearheading, as it were,
Mm,
with a core team of people, but
mm, mm.
very much in the sort of the driving force of a project. But vice versa for that project, it was really nice because Finn, who asked me to do it, obviously
Mm.
knew what my skill set was and knew what my strengths were, and had just said, right, do you want to do this? Here's all the information you need. Go away and do whatever you think would work best, which is really nice. And
Mm.
that's it's really nice when that's given to you, but also it's really nice as a producer, um, being able to sort of know the right person and or have a means to finding the right person and being able to go, look, this is what we need. These are the parameters. But I know that you're fantastic, so uh, go away and do that. And I'm thinking very specifically of our composer for the Gary project,
Yes.
Sam Easton, who is absolutely phenomenal composer. And you can take an idea to him and know that it will come back somehow exactly what you want, but 10 times better than you could ever have imagined. That is properly fair in it. It is stunning
I
every
think
time.
that's very fair. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
And it's just
unreasonably
nice,
good.
and it's just nice having that book of contacts, but it's also nice knowing that you're part of that book of contacts for somebody else.
Mm, mm. So kind of moving past that first paid opportunity, and I kind of hinted on this before. Could you talk us through your career journey so far? Um,
It's
so
a
like
career
when you
journey of two.
first,
Sorry, go
like
on.
even sorry for interrupting, but like from when you even started kind of doing art things, I guess, like what was the first show you ever saw?
Ooh. I think. Let me
Or
think.
film you watched? I know you've been
It would
very
definitely be
influenced by
TV for
like,
me. It would
mm,
definitely be TV. I mean, I've got really vivid memories of seeing the first episode of TV that I really remember watching, and I know that we've spoken about this before, was I remember seeing Christopher Eccleston, regenerate into David Tennant. And I remember seeing that. I reckon I didn't see the full episode. I think I saw that last sort of 10 minutes. So I would have been, but that 2005, so I would have been five.
yeah, it was
And I remember
2005, yeah.
remember from then on in being absolutely fascinated by it. But I also remember watching Doctor Who Confidential after that episode as well. So there's probably I'd say that night is probably the night that I sort of saw. I really liked the product, but I really liked seeing the process how it was made, and that's probably yeah that night of yeah. So that was probably the first point. I mean, we started pretty far back, so strap in.
Yeah, it just jump forwards, you know.
When I was five, and then when I was six, yeah, and I suppose I just always enjoyed doing stuff. I think the acting side was probably what I started off doing. So I did youth theatre up in Buxton for a few years, which I really enjoyed. We did National Theatre Connections with that, which was a really nice opportunity. And I still know a lot of the people I was in that group with now, which is really nice. I mean, I was
Mm.
texting Alfie this morning actually because he'd had the Boddingtons and he knows I like Boddingtons. Um, and Cream of Manchester. And then when that sort of came to an end, I didn't know what to do, and somebody put me on to the television workshop, the which is a charity for training young actors from diverse backgrounds to come into stage and screen, and that was based in Salford, and it was affiliated to ITV and Sky and all these sort of amazing things, and I got on board with that, and then I yeah got in, and I think that that's probably where everything sort of started because it was a group of people who were very much not that the Buxton thing wasn't serious, but this was more serious. This was people who were actually working on TV and in film and wanted to do that and working
Mm.
in theatre in some sort of professional sense. And we were all quite young. I think it was about 16, 17 when we were doing it, and everyone was sort of that. I think 15 was the youngest. I think Lizzie was 15 at the time who was in the group. Then there was some people who were older, right up to about 23, which was really nice because you had this really broad spectrum of ages and people at all different stages. And we did
Mm.
some fantastic things there. We did short films. We met a lot of industry people. We took shows to Edinburgh, and that whole sort of thing. I think what was great is Rachel, who ran it, absolutely fantastic because she really instilled in us that idea that you have to be able to do all of it to bring through your own ideas because otherwise you're just relying on somebody else, writing the right part or having the right vision for
Mm.
the part for you to actually get on. So like the idea of like fundraising for a show, like organizing the package of logistics that it takes to make an idea happen. And sorry,
That's all right.
wrong goal. Uh, And yeah, so I'd say that was a really formative moment, and that's where I met Teddy Jones, who I then went on to form Peveril Productions with, and we had a writers' room with Teddy yesterday, which was
Yes.
really nice, and we've still got a really productive professional and personal relationship. We're friends, and we write stuff together, and a lot of the original Gary hashtag content was people from the TV workshop who were sort of again, oh, I'm going to use my phrase again, that our book of contacts, which is something I don't think I've ever used before this Zoom call.
You could alternate with Rolodex or like,
Rolodex of
yes.
contact. And yeah, and I think that's probably quite interesting for this because we I mean we just said, do you want to be involved with this? And there was no talk of payment, which I know is a bit of a woolly thing. And I was on a call with some scripts editors over the weekend, and they had a really good take on the whole sort of payment thing, which is the whole sort of payment thing. It sounds so blasé, but I think it is a really serious issue because it's the catch-22 of if you don't have work that you've done, it's hard to get paid work to move forward.
Mm.
And they're they put it in a really nice way, which I thought was probably the best I've heard it phrased, which was you absolutely deserve to always get paid for the work you do, but it's a personal decision as to whether you always expect to get paid. And I think that was really nice and really interesting because, you know, there's a point where to get into the Rolodex of contacts, you sort of need to prove what you can do, but also you need to prove to yourself and know like how you are, like how you can react when under pressure and stuff like that. And in a way, if you're not getting paid for it, then it's no, if you don't react in the best way, then it doesn't really matter. As much as you want to do your best. My point is you don't want to be on a professional set supporting a team of 50 production staff and then lose your head and not know how to get out of it. And I'd say that the sort of all the unpaid work that I've done on, you know, on weekends or around my university course or whilst I was at school or sixth form or any of these sort of things or in school holidays or whatever, you know, they sort of help me form and galvanize a skill set that I use every time I'm on a film set. You know, like I think you know, like producing a short film shoot has like over the last week I've been on a quite big shoot on the location, but across multiple locations within walking distance, multiple teams and all that sort of stuff. And I felt like I was really drawing on that experience. It was really reminiscent of a short film shoot that I produced with Finn, which I didn't get paid for. But at the same time, I sort of had the confidence and I had the self-assurity to, you know, to react well in that situation. I've probably gone off a little bit there, but
so just to draw us back in, like you've been talking about having conversations with script editors and that sort of stuff. Did your that first directing role that you got paid for, is that led to that sort of thing?
No, I don't think it has really. I think that's still quite separate. I think it's probably led to
how did you get into that? Like that sort of area if it wasn't from building on your directing?
Well, the directing thing was more commercial based. And I'd say that the experience that I built up in the commercial sector, which was just where I was getting jobs, and then that sort of led into, I suppose, just giving me enough experience to basically blag my way into the TV side of stuff and then blag my way into the more artistic side of stuff, because I think that there's a bit of a separation between all those three worlds. But there's sort of a general skill set which yeah, you can apply to all.
Fab. And how, say, when you were getting jobs, where were you looking to find them? What were you doing? Was it like one leading into another? Were you looking on websites?
It was very much one leading into another, and it was reaching out. And I think that's again the Rolodex of contacts, book of contacts, whatever. It's about curating that and curating your place in different people's sort of knowledge. And, you know, it really is just a case of sending out as many emails as you can and just keeping contacts warm and keeping contacts sort of keeping yourself in contact. And I think, you know, I just always try and be dead nice and dead personable and, you know, a sort of a nice person to have around, so that even if, you know, my skills aren't, you know, necessarily totally transferable to what I'm doing, I know that I'm still nice to have around and still nice to, you know, nice and thoughtful, you know, with colleagues. And I think that really does work. But that also works in my favour as well, because it means that when there isn't a lot of work around from certain people, and when I'm sort of trying to reach out to them, I'm not sort of going, you know, oh mate, give us a job sort of thing. You know, I can say, do you want to go? Do you want to meet up for a drink? You know, do you want to have a coffee? You know, and sort of curate it as sort of professional friends rather than hello, hello, you got any paid
Yeah.
work? And I think it's the same on all sides of my career, really.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Thank you. So what does and this is quite tricky because we've kind of been filling this in, but as you've said, you do so much. You're kind of a jack of all trades in a way.
Master of none.
So a master of a few of them.
Oh, it's
So what
really
does
nice actually coming from you.
no, but I mean it, like you're very, very good at what you do,
Oh, thank you.
like
Thank you. So are you.
specifically
No,
acting and
that's really
writing.
nice of you to say. Thank you.
That's all right.
No, I'll leave it out.
So what, oh, thank you very much as well, but uh, what does your role actually involve?
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that is tricky because it's a lot of different things. I think,
I think you were starting to answer it with just being personable, being friendly. I think something that I think potentially you've glossed over is your kind of fearlessness to just would it be cold emailing people or just reach out to people and be friendly? You're quite, I think
yeah, I
across
think
all roles you're fairly personable.
Yeah, I think the cold emailing thing, yeah, that's something that I still slight struggle with. I've actually got a list of people that I should have emailed this week. Only three people who I've sort of had
Mm.
contact with before, but who I want to follow up on. And I've just been putting it off. I mean, it's Friday now, and I've still not done it. Um, so yeah, I need to do that. So it is tricky, but you do just need to go. People like meeting people, and it's about sort of oh my goodness, I'm about to use it again. That book of contacts that everybody
Your
has. Uh,
contacts, yeah.
it's
Your network, if you will.
yeah. Let's go for network. Then I'm changing it up a bit. But that network is, I think as much as you're emailing someone, if you feel like you're outside of the industry and you want to get in, as much as you're emailing someone who you think is, like on a pedestal or something. What's really nice is I got told by a couple of people quite early on that not only are they thinking about not only are you wanting to speak to them, they're also sort of wanting to speak to you because you might be outside the industry now, but give it 2, 3, 4 years time. I don't
Mm.
think you'll be giving them a job, but you might know of a job that they would be good for or something like that, or you might work in a company, you might work on the shoot together, you might work in a production team together we might work on a project together, whatever. And it's about, I think everybody wants to build up their book of contacts. So in terms of cold emailing, like I wouldn't overthink it. I think you are literally making contact and it's a two-way thing as well,
Mm.
which is really
How do
nice.
you go about finding the people to cold
Oh,
email?
it's so I think I had um a mentor in the industry from my university course, and there's loads of places you can find it. You can do that via screen skills and stuff like that. But I would recommend just trying to get someone who's a bit of a friend, really. And if you get someone like I remember saying to him, have you got any email contacts for this company or that company or this company? And this is for like the sort of thing that I was in a dream world want to be making or want to be
Mm.
working on. Who makes what you like, and I just ask for those emails. Or the other way you can do it is just send a general email to the at um, info at company
Hmm. Hmm.
thing that's on every website normally. But also, what you can do is, and this is a bit of a cheeky one, you if they've got that info at whatever address, chances are that the personal email address within the company of the person you want to speak to is the second half after the at of that company email address and their first name dot second name. That's what it tends to be. So you
Hmm.
can just try that variation. Um, and yeah, that's it really.
Fair
But
enough.
then I have a little bit of a rule as well, just leading off that, which is after I've been on any sort of project, when I finish the day after, if I've got the day to myself or even the evening or whatever, I will always spend an hour, 2 hours, whatever, just writing some really nice messages to the people I've worked with. Just getting there. I don't know if it's a bit dodgy really, but I always get their email or phone number off the call sheet. If they've not given it to
Mm.
me, I'll find them. And I'll just send a really nice email saying, I've really enjoyed working with you. Thank you so much. It was great watching how you approached X, Y, Z. It would be great to work together again. And I think that I'd say that is probably the way that I sort of carry on getting stuff
Mm.
just by saying I've enjoyed working with you. I think it flatters people a little bit, but most of the time I genuinely have. I mean, I've only ever worked with one person who I really, really disliked. But I think everyone else is really, really lovely. If you're lovely to them, they're lovely back. And yeah, I think as long as you can be genuine and yeah, just yeah.
Yeah. What skills do you use most in your day-to-day work?
Organization skills definitely is probably the big one, but also it's like I'm writing a cover letter, the ability to adapt as well, and again be personable. I think that those sort of three are the main triangle that you could really apply to any job, really, which is building up a bit of a rapport as quickly as possible with the people you're working
Hmm.
with, so that they feel like they can tell you when you're not doing something right or when they need something that doesn't really matter to them, but they still want it.
So kind of proactively breaking the ice and making yourself
Yeah.
seem very approachable.
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, practically breaking the ice is a really good way of putting it. But then, using those other sort of skills of organization and adaptability. So you can always, if somebody needs something, you can sort of prioritize the things that you've got on your plate anyway and do that. And I'd say that that's probably the way that I'd say that for any project that you're working on, that's probably
Hmm.
um, the main three.
Yeah, fantastic. So creative problem solving.
Oh yeah,
Adapt.
all that
Yeah,
jazz. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Creative problem solving, and also, but also not to overthink stuff. Just get it done.
Mm,
That pragmatism as well. I think you can still be quite creative with your pragmatism.
mm,
Uh, you know, yeah.
fair enough. Um, what is your favorite project that you've worked on and why?
I'm going to go for the Gary Sullivan web series. I'd say
Mm.
in Utopia, which that name is supposed to be a bit naff. Just uh, you know, I just want to put it out there. Um, I really like that project because it just grew and grew, and it was the first experience that I had of people asking to be a part of something, which was really nice because the sort of lineage of those projects is that we self shot a sort of I wouldn't necessarily call it a series. It wasn't really a story. It was just like a series of sort of sketches in
Mm,
2020 between the lockdowns, and then you edited them,
I did.
I think, and then we
I
put
think I remember I was sent essentially a bunch of rushes, and it was like, can we find a story in this? Is there
mm,
like, can we
the
try?
answer was no.
Well, I mean, we could. It worked. It was mostly just tightening it up and making the scenes have an arc and a
Mm,
pace to them. That was interesting. That was something I learned was how editing could make the pace of a scene as opposed to it having to happen in the room on film. In
mm,
theatre, obviously, it's wildly different, but I learned that from
yeah.
that project.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, that's also why I've enjoyed those projects uh, because I feel like we've all developed a lot through doing them. I
Mm,
feel like I have as well. Um, the practical skills, but also the creative, more craft-based skills as well. I think that we've really developed, and that's something that's been really useful for me moving forward. But it was really nice because we did that, and then as that was coming out, I think that's when Sam, our composer, asked to write a song for the second series. We said, all right,
mm,
yeah, I'll do a second series then. And then we had other people. We had a few actors who asked to be involved with it, which was great. And that was really, really nice because it felt like we really curated a bit of a team, which was amazing. And that made the project just grow and grow and grow. So the idea was that it was going to be, I think the one thing that we wanted for this second series was that to actually be a narrative and for it
mm,
actually to work and for it to be funny, but for it to actually be like engaging in terms of story. I think it's probably fair, which I think the first series of probably wasn't. I think there were some really funny moments in the first series, but it didn't have that glue holding it together. So we wanted to do that. So we wanted to do 5 episodes. And then Sam wrote the first song, and we thought, all right, that's actually really good. Can you do another couple? So we ended up
Mm.
doing a song per episode, which then ended up being an album, which then needed music videos. So it ended up becoming this big package that took, I mean, at the time it felt like it took ages, but I reckon we had it done and out within a year, possibly.
I don't know. I think we
In a year.
started. I remember the first song was done in February 21.
Well, no,
Um,
you don't remember that. You just saw it on my laptop yesterday
Thank you very much. I
in
was
your
trying to make
memory.
it seem
I
spontaneous. Me
remember.
and my, I
Well, I think
remember.
you'll find it was the 18th of February 2021. But
Yeah,
that's when Happy Lads, the first song, was written. But I think
because
that
yeah,
was that
I
was
remember
I
you
think
coming
that.
to me fairly soon after what felt like very soon after the first series had been finished and going, we should start writing the second one.
Oh
And I
yeah, I
was
think it was
like,
pretty
oh,
immediate. I think it was
mm,
pretty immediate, but I think we hadn't got particularly far with writing it, um, because that song I think sparks a lot of the ideas
I think it
in
took
the
like
series.
5 months to write it. We started shooting in August. It was February, March,
Yes, we
April, May,
did.
June, July, August. Yeah, about 5, 6 months of writing.
Yeah, and
Um,
that was sort of on and off. That was sort of gestating ideas and stuff like that, and that was stuff like developing. And then yeah, we started shooting it in August. Started with episode 4, didn't we?
we did. We started with the big scene in episode 4,
Which was a
which
bit of
was
a baptism
crazy.
by fire.
It was because we had about 20, 25 extras.
Yeah, but you said about that I can be a bit fearless sometimes, but I think you were as well because you were directing on a gimbal iPhone camera, 20 people in a flat you'd never been to with a load of people you'd never known. So I think as a director, I think your fearlessness there really pushed it forward.
Thank you very much. I wore a suit.
Yes, I remember you wore a suit, and several people said to me, is he wearing a suit? Is he in it? No, he's behind the camera.
Yeah, I was like, I need to wear a suit of armor for this for some reason, and I
No,
chose a
you
grey
slept
on
in
the
my
orange
flat,
one.
didn't you? You slept on the sofa as well.
Mm.
So yeah, you probably had the suit pressed.
No, I didn't. I remember I had it, and I thought
Uh,
I'll wear it. I'm never going to have another reason to wear this, and it
yeah,
it
fair
was
enough.
like, yeah,
So that's that. Oh, and also we had Serena doing the graphics as well, which I think again just gave it another lift. And that's what I loved as well about the producing role on that as well, is knowing that, as much as you're going to create something, it's going to be the highest proportion that of any of the work you do that people are going to see. It's just going to be the graphic that you post on
mm.
Instagram. And it was really nice having um
And
I
the
think
name
that
as well.
and the name, and I think starting with that as well is very much part of my creative process because I sort of come up with a vague idea, maybe write a bit of a script. But what's really nice is having an idea of your influences, um, which is nice, which you can share with the team, but also I really like having the graphic done before we start actually putting anything inside the camera and whilst there's still a
Mm.
bit of development period going. Because I think it just sums up what it is that you're making. Do you know what I mean? There's just something really
No, I
nice.
do. I remember I used to write plays, and because I like Photoshop, I'd always build the poster before I started writing the
Mm,
play, so I
mm.
knew what that like core image was going to be, and what that feel, the feel I wanted the piece to have. And I think that's how you approached Gary. I say
Oh,
you. We very much wrote it together. Have I frozen?
no, I think I'm just getting a call through from Warrington. It's going to be, shall I answer it on the call? That might be quite fun. No, I won't.
No, no, no. Let me.
It's
No.
it's going to be it's not going to be anything.
Okay.
I don't think. Anyway, yeah, I'd say that's in conclusion, that's my favorite job. Yeah, that was my favorite thing.
Fab. I had
Yeah.
great fun, and then it was also editing it, which took a while. And I
It
remember it
took a
took a
while to
while,
build up to doing it, didn't it? Because I think the geographical thing, because you were living in London at the time, I was up in Manchester,
and
so
I
it was very
think
much snapping time together.
the shoot was like it was like a 3 month shoot, and it was every weekend, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
apart from when
And
I
it
went on
was
holiday.
apart from then, and I can't remember what I was doing around it. I was writing. It was my course.
You were starting your course, I think. No, it was
Yeah, no, no, no. I just
anyway.
in my first year, and I was just
Mm,
getting into writing the scripts, and my flat
mm.
had flooded in London,
That's
and
right. Yes, yes.
and that's why I was back up and we could shoot it.
Yeah,
And
it was. Yeah, and I remember. Yeah, and then we just had a bit of a to-do list that hung over us for a couple of months afterwards because we basically shot everything. We just needed to do another music video. I think. Anyway,
And
this is more
I
interesting
remember
to us than
really
anybody
kind of,
else.
it was like it took a year because a mix of general burnout after the project, which was just
The burnout was
learning.
massive after that.
It
It
was
was the worst
huge.
burnout I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was bad.
And then like a lack of being able to face it. But I think that's just experience really. Because I then went into doing Petrolhead as well. So I was
Mm,
starting on the prep for Petrolhead to shoot
mm.
that.
Which was April, wasn't it? The
It
next April.
was, and then May.
Mm.
Um, and I
Yeah.
was, yeah, there was stuff there. Um, and it was also because I started the edit file and I didn't realize that Final Cut it blows up edit files. And I'd used a proxy SSD, and this little web series that was about 20 minutes in length altogether blew up to about a terabyte of data
Have you got
because it was.
my other SSD?
I absolutely
You've
do,
still
and I
got
hate
that.
to say it, it is absolutely just bricked with Gary Sullivan. It won't.
It's worth though. I mean, because we were talking about deleting it to make space a couple of months ago, weren't we? But I
Yeah.
think that I think the right decision is always to keep those raw files because you never know how it
Well,
might
it's not
come in.
even that. It's the edit file for Gary is like 900 gigabytes, and for no
900
reason because
gigabytes of pure
all because
fantasticness.
I didn't click the button that was like don't don't create proxies in Final Draft because you can go leave the edit files where they are and don't blow them up, or oh let them in, import them into Final Draft, and then Final Draft starts layering everything on top of everything, and it expands all of the data files you ever use and renders them, and creates massive render files. And so I just watched as my laptop
Blew
slowly
up.
died, like that was, and that's why because we were like, I don't think I can edit anymore because every time I move a clip of you, we lose about 100 gigabytes
Hmm.
of space.
But that was so important because we'd only ever really written together at this point. We should say that
Mm.
I don't know if we made that clear, but we've written together a lot over the years. We probably started writing together.
I
So
think
it's a,
you're the reason that I started writing.
oh, very good. Oh, yes, I am.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Just because I'm
So
so
there you
GA.
go. You're the reason that
Yeah.
I'm where I am, which is weird to say.
Oh, that's very nice.
Um,
It's nice to know
yeah.
you are the same for me as well, which is very
Oh,
nice. So it is very odd to you just to be asking questions to me. It doesn't. I mean,
what?
it feels it's yeah, very odd. But yeah, I think what was really nice about that project as well is knowing the importance as much as the phrasing of a line is important
Mm,
when doing something on paper and like, does it feel real? Would they actually say that? Is that the too many syllables for somebody to be saying at point X, Y, Z?
mm.
That sort of shaving seconds off a clip becomes the most important thing in your life. And I would recommend anyone who wants to write or act as well, do anything like that, anything creative. I would really recommend them to shoot something and try and edit a scene because I feel you learn so much from putting stuff
Mm.
in terms of how you approach your performance and in terms of how you approach writing and how significant those sort of and also visualizing how it goes into the camera as well is really important.
Well,
Uh,
it was the shooting it on iPhones as well. Like the fact it was because I was building at the time to shoot Petrolhead,
mm,
where we were like, oh, we're going to shoot on an Arri Alexa. This is ridiculous. And then I was shooting this on a little iPhone, and I
mm.
learned so
This
much
one,
more,
I need to
yeah,
get a new phone.
from that because it's like it still looks pretty good. It's the same camera angles, it's the same style, it's using the same kind of emotions and that sort of stuff. And you also learn what's losable in a scene to keep it flowing through.
Mm,
And there's a good few scenes in Petrolhead where it kind of Petrolhead's a film that I wrote that's coming out soon after a good few years of editing. Um, it is learning that you can overwrite a scene. And if you leave, I think we started leaving markers in the script where if it didn't feel right in the edit, we could trim this section and we'd know that the scene would
mm,
still work,
mm.
if I remember rightly.
What on ours? Did we?
On ours, I think we did. I
Oh,
think
did
by
we?
the end we were writing
We
scenes
probably
because we'd
did.
started editing episode 4 and we'd realized there were a number of scenes that we couldn't trim bits out of and it
What
was
was
too long in length.
what was really nice because I've totally forgotten that, but what was really nice about that project as well, and going back to the not getting paid thing, it was really nice doing it every weekend because you had this regular thing. And there were times when we said, I just wish that we had, a few £100 so we could pay everybody, get them to take the week off work and just shoot it all in one. Because we actually probably only shot for about 10 days, maybe. But it
I
just
think it
blew.
was. And it was
Maybe
all fully gonzo as well. So it was all just out like in a park in Manchester.
it was the
Okay.
fact that we were doing it every weekend meant that we had the weeks to sort of assess how we were approaching it. And I think by the end of it, because we were doing it for so long, we really came up with these ways and methods of doing it, which was really nice because by the end, we were really slick at shooting it in a way that we weren't to start off with. And that was also the easiest stuff to edit as well. It was really nice that we sort of found our way of working through that. And I think it's the way that I think we still work like that now. So I think they were really valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the just getting up and making something, would you say, is the lesson people can
Oh
take?
yeah, yeah. Shoot it on your iPhone. Just shoot it on anything, and then edit it on. If you're lucky enough to have a Mac, Final Cut. Well, you can get it on iPad as well, which would be a little bit more tricky. But just learning those lessons from making the full package, I think, is really beneficial.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Sam, for coming along and doing a coffee morning. I think we've learned an awful lot from chatting to you. I think at
Oh,
the
thank
start
you.
you
It's
kind of,
really nice to be asked. I mean, as I said at the start, it's I don't feel like I'm at a point to give anyone advice, but it's really nice talking through what we've done and what I've worked on, and I hope that anyone gets something from it
well,
if
I
you
think.
can.
Well, thank you very much and have a lovely rest of your day. And thank you very much, everyone, for watching.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks, Pat.